back, so I'm gonna see if anybody's on. Um, I know it's gonna be kind of tricky because of the timing, but we'll see if anybody come up. Um, had to get a little something to eat, so I recharged the battery. So see what's going on. Before I left, I was we're talking about LeBron's podcast. Yeah, okay. I'm like, hmm. If that's how it go, that's how it be. I guess I don't know. I don't really like the whole corporate podcasting because it's just like it's a botting system and influx to derail and to keep people from talking about, because it's like, why don't you give someone else I mean, like I want to hear veterans talk. I want to hear. I get more excited about hearing what Dr. J's got to say than when I got to hear what LeBron's got to say. Just saying. But that's what's up though. It's big business. It's big money. People I like to hear talk don't talk. Ones I don't hear about hearing talk, they talking. So, but it's part of the politics. It's the business. It's what's up with the industry. It's what they want. So, you know, like they always just say, got to get the people what they want. Like the OJ said and what Jalen Rose used to say with Jalen Jacoby. So we gonna see what's up. But anyway, I'll be here if you know, I'm gonna see what's up right here for a minute. So I don't know if anybody will come through, but we'll just see. I had to bounce out, but I'm back now. Had some computer issues though, you know. So, you know, so we'll see though. We're just chilling. Hmm. Yeah, I'm back. I told you I was coming back. Give me a half hour, I came back. But yeah. We're gonna finish talking about the podcast. The podcast. I got ready to get in on it. I mean, whatever. JJ Reddick gets bought and paid for. You know how I feel about JJ Reddick. So yeah, I see. I said it too. I don't want to. I don't waste my time with that mess. I ain't talking. I mean, like he doesn't already have enough multimedia. He had the barber shop. He's got them on the payroll on La ESPN. La ESPN. I ain't know what. Has anyone else said that one? If no one else has said it, let me be the first. La ESPN. Yeah, you like how I did that. Yeah, for Latino, for the Latino community. La. I don't pay that turkey no mind. I don't pay him no mind. Because I know that one for Doc Rivers, Austin, and that's the only time Austin made Austin made more points on that about his daddy than he's made on the basketball court. He told the gospel truth. The one for his pops. It is two things. It wasn't for his pops, and it wasn't for the fact that Steph Curry made three balls fashionable. JJ Redick would have been a plumber. Okay? He would have been a plumber because he was headed for 9 to 5. Believe me. And they always try to keep them white boys from Duke a job. Okay, they tried. He was headed for 9 to 5. He was a plumber. He about ready to be a plumber until they found a way to keep his behind around the league, and then he could shoot a few threes. But he went here, went there, went there. He was too soft. Oh, look. I saw JJ Redick. I saw JJ Redick, and I saw his NBA career was hidden. His NBA career was going to be like Grayson Allen's. Okay, now what's Grayson Allen? A third tier player. Okay, think about it. Who was known for tripping. That's all Grayson Allen had going for him until he made some shots, hit some few shots here and there. See, we are live, and now I tell you about the white boys in the NBA, the ones that are what I call middle of the road, real middle of the road, who you always ask me about role players and specialties. Well, when you don't really have a role, you got to have something else you do. Yeah, plumber. Mason Plumley. Please. See, this is why it's such a joke. It's a joke. Now, if you can play, I ain't saying nothing. I ain't saying a word. But they haven't had an American born white boy that's really knocked them out in a long time. Okay. But you see, Reddick is almost like, he's like a spy token. You know, he acts like he hates his job on ESPN too. That's the sad part because he hates having to actually debate. When you get broadcasters from journalists who actually went to school for that, who actually had to do the grind work to do that, and they call you out on you can't debate, you suck. Pompous white boy. I love white on white crime because he got Bob Cousy out the old folks on. Cousy about ready to give him a Will Smith 2-piece for talking crazy. And Jerry West wanted to give him one too. I'm like, you ain't the white boy to be talking trash. You ain't the one. You should have several seats down. You ain't the one. You know. I mean, you benefited. I mean, Riddick benefited. Yeah, and them white boys would tear JJ Redick's behind up. Danny, I don't even know if JJ Redick is as good as Danny Ainge. I don't know. I'll give JJ Redick over Greg Kite and Rick Carlisle and Chris Ford. Depends on Chris Ford could hit double them. Yeah, I said Ainge is better than him. But we already know about Bird and McHale. They spoken for him, Bill Walton. So, yeah, them plumbers and those maintenance men. So just don't like to quote somebody that I can't stand, and I don't like to think about him. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. See, and look, Dre is a funny dude. Oh, yeah, he does. And a beater, too. Because D. Barnes be beating on women. And, you saw the movie. They whitewashed that movie. Look, a great producer of talent. Can't take that away. And Eminem did, come up big for him. However, am I really sure that M would have been any bigger if Snoop, all things being fair, Snoop was like the voice when 93. So I had a different front row seat to that, but I understand he got it because Jimmy Iovine and M, and Iovine wouldn't put M on. I get the business. I get the business. Because Dre has been ran and bought by them white boys. I mean, think about it. He made more money off them headphones. And he's a corporate brother. But it's a bit much. The Grammys got an award named after him. That's a bit much. Cracks me up because Suge Knight calls it the Ike Turner Award. So y'all got it up Dre's like the Ike Turner hip hop. It's some cold stuff. But the D Barnes thing, if you never heard about D Barnes, look it up. But I don't get into his personal, but there's a lot of stuff. It is. I mean, he made a record. I'll tell this to you. The Michael Jackson video. I mean, he regurgitated. He did all kinds of mockery to Michael. He said the N-word. He didn't call black women out their names. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to go like Benzino or some other people or Nick Cannon on him, but I've never got that hype of him. Yeah, I lost a couple people who were following me because I spoke out against him, but I don't care. I can't clap for a guy that's a bigot, and I can't clap for a guy who I think that is a bully because his tactics are cheap. He's always talking about NSYNC and Britney Spears and Aguilera, all these people. I'm like, those are not your peers. They peers, but they not. You know what I mean? Now, won't you go there and won't you go pick on Nas? Thank you. High dap, dapped up. Yeah, because well, if he had ether for Jay-Z, what would he have for Eminem? He wasn't gonna go after that. See, and Nas didn't sell records like that. Nas would, but Nas, when you start talking someone's the greatest MC, you better be able to that they can spit and they got lingo. M can battle rap. He can go battle, but as far as like the wordsmith, he ain't that dude. And he sure as heck ain't gonna step to no Nas. He wouldn't have stepped to no Kumo D back in the day. I already said the rappers I can mention them, you know. But he's the Elvis of hip hop, and that's what they want. Yeah, Karis would have ate him for breakfast. He would have said the M, because you can't find the E. The INE, because it's not in you. And the emo is the EM is for emo. Back in the day, he would. I don't know about as he became more Hollywood with his acting, but the early T, oh yeah, 6 in the morning era, yeah. Curtis One would have roasted him, and so would Rakim. Come on now, Rakim had words, bars for days. I can name a lot of them cats. Kumo D too. And I bet if little LL Cool J was really, really pressed. But again, this old school era, he did. Well, he roasted him in terms of, he ain't no rapper, but 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 Snoop. See, rapping is not just about how many bars and how fast you rap or you spit. It's putting them words and making them connect. It's like boxing with your mouth. So, let me refresh me about the Nelly video. Was the oh yeah. That's right. Talking about he came in the hardest era. Yeah. So I was in St. Louis about 15 so years ago because my aunt, uncle, my cousin, I got family there. Anyway, my cousin, we by his restaurant, saw him outside or something. It's like it's something like that. Because he's from the Loop. And catchy rapper, fun rapper, kind of like a Junior Whopper, LL Cool J. And he sold a lot of records. I'll give him that. Because as a matter of fact, I think Karis once stepped at him sideways because he couldn't relate to how Nelly was so successful. So it was a generational thing. But yeah, he had competition, but he didn't have 90s competition. He didn't have what he grew up on. He need to stop lying right there. I mean, yeah, M would have gave him a run, Jay-Z, Ja Rule, there's a few, but compared to the 90s, are you kidding, Nelly? Are you kidding? If you were trying to go commercial rap, how would you have fared against Hammer or Will Smith or Heavy D? I don't know. Conscious rappers, Lauryn Hill, Common, I don't know. He probably could. He probably could. The thing is, M would throw words at him, but Pac would throw body at him, and body is like he would try to break him, try to break his spirits. But it's a diff. It's a real strategic move there if they were to. You know, so it all depends. I did back in the day, but again, we've had. I told you before. This is guess it kind of gets up. Depends. when I cared about a bracket, when I actually had a team that was my team I was rooting for. I'm not really caring about it right now. Michigan stinks, and I don't really care. And college basketball came close, came close. Couple times, maybe three. The Michigan year against North Carolina, I had a $20 side bet, and I had them winning, and then Chris Webber. And then it was another time, I think it was that year when UConn won the men's, and I came close in that one. Then I had the time in was it 07 in Florida. And I think because Texas, I forgot who it was, Texas or UCLA. That's when Kevin Love was there. Somebody messed me up because dude was all scared because I almost won that one. I won in a twisted way because I had like my 16 worked out real well. See, I've had a couple times I came close, but that's about the last time, you know. And they bust your brackets because they always go 8, and then they choke against a big team from the East that never fails, or somebody ends up crying. They're the team that's always going to get you too. You think that finally, when they didn't have to worry about them big East teams and they could get away with shooting threes, they would finally win. They've been the most disappointing college team. It went from being a Cinderella story to just being a broken shoe story. Yeah. The shoe never fit. So, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Because I remember they came so close a lot of times. They could never get the shoe to fit. So, yeah, I came close with my brackets a few times. I just couldn't get it. Couldn't get it. Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Good for you. I mean, they are playing pretty good for college basketball. It's funny when I see college uh, football teams that are good in college football suddenly become good in basketball because that wasn't always the norm. That wasn't always the norm. Used to be a time that was comical. Who they play? Because I didn't check everything out last night. Did they win? Did you get excited about the Bucks? I still gotta wait for the big picture with them. Who they beat? I didn't check anything. Okay. Oh, okay. I hate that though. I want to Golden State to, stay ahead of the Lakers, but I know it's gonna be tough though. They're gonna be too come see come si because they're just not inconsistent. Let me see something real quick. That's called. He said Gonzaga of the NBA. That's hilarious. I don't know about. Well, they haven't been that good. I mean, that's asking a lot. Whoa! I saw the Milwaukee against Phoenix. Now no more he ain't. Bobby Portis went off last night. Dame at that. Okay. Yeah, the Durant was supposed to pass Shaq. He got 11 points last night. Okay. Wow. They got 140 to 129. Whoa. Wow. They got stomped. They got stomped. That's not hard to get a lot out of Portis. I mean, Portis can play all right. Oh, DeAndre Ayton is blaming his slow start because of his air mattress. I got to do a video about that tomorrow. That's hilarious. Oh, that's hilarious. Ayton blaming the slow start for his air mattress. That's hilarious. Let me write that down. DeAndre Ayton. Yeah, it's on Yahoo. I'm reading it right now. Slow start for air mattress. That's hilarious. In part sleeping on. If only that was all of it. All that trash he talked. I ought to do a video about him and um oh god, what's his name? Uh Andre Drummond. Because Drummond always talks around like he's one of the greatest centers ever. These guys are delusional. He probably gonna get fired. Probably will. They suck. I mean, they stink. Let's see what he's saying. He talk crazy. Probably will get him fired. Jalen Brunson looking good. And they talking about Kamingas now. Yeah, Brunson playing. They've been playing, But again, that's gonna come in the playoffs. Though I'm not gonna make a big deal. He's a very good young talent. Like I said, it's gonna be about the pieces they put around him. That's all it's gonna be. But I still say in a couple years. I'm not gonna say next year, but I say in a couple years, he could be ready for takeoff. I think next year he'll be showing signs where they'll be near postseason or near playing tournament. Should be, and then in 2 years, watch out because he'll be by third year. No, because Jokic averaged triple doubles. Jokic didn't pass LeBron all time for triple doubles. I don't know when we're gonna be that dude. You know, when you say a higher ceiling and you talking about all around game, you talking about where a guy is leading the team, top of the key, passing, and his IQs and his marks. Wemby is very talented as an athlete. He got a chance as far as athleticism, but can he will his team and can he get them to be, at least get in the postseason? Then you be start to go in those steps. That's the jury's out on. So Jokic is when a guy's got 2 league MVPs. I mean, you're saying that Wemby's going to be a guy that can win 3 or 4 MVPs. That's what you're basically saying. And he's got a chance. If Jokic wins another ring or two, then you're saying Wemby's gonna 3 or 4 rings, 3 or 4 league MVPs. Well, yeah, I think he's I think he's got an upside. I don't know if he's going to be higher than Jokic though. I don't know. I don't know. You know, but I think in a couple years he'll definitely be doing some freaky things. I give him that. I'll give him that. You know, what I see and what could happen. But, I'll come back on it. I don't know. I don't know. I can't say. Can't say. Because Bam's a good fit. And I don't know how Victor will fare, uh, because there's a different tendency in Miami. See, he'd have to be on board to be in ready to deal with Jimmy Butler or not to deal. And there's different movements in Miami. Spo coaches differ than Pop, so it's a different cadence. It all depends on which systems go. I don't know. Can't say. Can't say. Because if he fundamentally gets what he needs out of Pop, I can't say. When he's playing, he just the thing is that good. He's a really good, very good player. It's just can he ever win a ring? If he wins a ring, then he goes into Heat lore. And that's the truth. Because he does represent the Heat. I mean, he when I say represent the Heat, I'm talking about Udonis, I'm talking about Alonzo. There's certain guys that are Heat players. D Wade, those are Heat players style. Butler would fit that. But he gotta win that ring though. Win that ring. Oh yeah. Because he fits. But he can be a headache too. So I'm not gonna. I just think that that you gotta understand the mental concept. Because he culture is about a mental concept that you have to be on the same accord. And there are guys that are they play as a team. There's really not you're really seeing it more than ever because the fact that Butler and Bam, so you don't have a guy that's a dominant ball heavy dude. But whoever gets hot, who can make shots and rotates. That's how it gets done. There's not a one man thing. So this is how you know Spo's a great coach because if he wasn't, he never would sniff no finals post LeBron, D Wade, and Bosh. Been to two finals without him. So I should tell you something. I should tell you something. So I don't care what nobody says. He's won two Eastern Conference championships without LeBron, D Wade, and Bosh. God improve he could coach. But when you don't have that finisher, that's why you don't win that ring, man. Well, to answer that, you saw Two Raw's video, right, where he talked about Pat Riley and LeBron. Now, I might do my own video. I haven't got to contemplate because I know about that for 10 years. I mean, I feel both sides on it. Problem is that when you lose a big fish like LeBron, and see, he almost made a mistake when they let Dwayne Wade go. And he had to slurp up to get D Wade back, which will lynch him when she got Butler. NBA guys are real sensitive. That's us probably the most diva league there is because they won't go there if they feel that. And you notice he hasn't been able to land that big fish. That's Pat Riley's trademark. There really is no big fish to land right now. Really, there ain't. Because everybody's young and not the only person that you might could unhook, and it would depend on how things go in a couple years or two, maybe be Giannis or maybe Embiid, but I doubt it. But there's nothing to unhook or unleash because all the guys that you would think about are LeBron's peers or Curry's peers, and Kawhi is too banged, too gone. There's just nothing there. You know what I mean? So they have to rely on guys that can, because they're in an era where it's the Steph. I told you, splash era. Guys shoot long ball, shoot three. Yeah, but his mind has to be sharp though. His mind has to be sharp. If we get him past wanting to be a league MVP to get him to want to be to be a champion, his mind has to be another level. I don't know if he could be ready for what Spo would say to him or Pat Riley. I don't know. Because to me, he just relies on, you know, it's a certain thing he rely on, and I don't know if that would fly in Miami. I don't know. They come from the same cloth. The only difference is that Spo offensive um play calling gets in the way. Like Riley would make an adjustment. Riley would make an adjustment. Spo sometimes gets caught and they don't always, sometimes acknowledging the hot hand or making just subtle movements. But for instance, I love Spo, but on offense he gets out coached against Denver with Mike Malone or against Boston. See, that series shouldn't have gone 7 games. He almost flew around and blew it. And I knew they weren't going to have a chance against Denver because he has to know how to make certain rotation calls. See, only knock I got against Spo. On my only knock. But if he ever gets his hands on a great player again, they were, but he did it in LA too. They act like Magic and them didn't play no defense because Showtime could buckle down. They beat Boston. They beat Boston at their own game. They beat Detroit their own game. Don't act like he couldn't make adjustments because they adapted to whoever they played. The reason why the Knicks thing was his style is because they played those 82-80 games or 90-88 type games. And so he could strategize and clamp up. But he showed versatility in La La Land. He showed versatility. And when they won the chip in Miami, he showed what he could do too. He knew when to sub Alonzo in for Shaq. He knew when how to let D Wade get through. They did their thing. You know. Well, what he did was understanding matchups. That's what he did. Like his second team will go in, and if you were small ball, it get clamp on you. That's what they did. So it looked like you were going like it looked like it was 5-on-3 because when he could throw size at you, that's what he did. That's what he did, and would wear you down. You know, but it was real strategic. Makes you understand something. They had some easy moments, but they had some tough ones. You know, so they were just very. I always said this: as great as they were very fortunate. Never went against a dominant center in the finals. It's one thing Jordan never had to worry about, and that's a biggie. You know, so but yeah, Phil emphasized players, common sense play. Yeah, I agree. Well, two things to that. Lucky in the East and lucky he didn't play that he wasn't uh centralized on playing ball because he was making albums and TV and different things and commercials, and movies. Had there been a field in the West with Shaq or Pat Riley and he's focused, oh yeah, things could have been different. Things would have been different. Oh yeah. Mm, you know. You put Shaq with Utah when Karl Malone and Stockton were there, they went in the chip 2, 3 years in a row. I'm gonna tell you like that. Because all they needed was a half a Shaq. The whole of Shaq, they win that finals. And remember, he never played with a dominant point guard or a power forward during his peak and his prime. Think about that. Because Horace was good, but Horace wasn't no Karl Malone. Let's not get it twisted. And he never had no John Stockton at point guard. So, just saying. Jordan was lucky he had to go against Elijah one. You know, I think they would have fared pretty good against. Uh, he did okay for the Lakers. You know, but his problem was he wasn't a centralized scorer. He gave you defense. He gave you rebounds. You know, he gave you what I call a bit here, a bit there. We call nickel and dime. You know, but to see him up here talking trash about Jordan is hilarious. You said Pete Myers. I used to clown Pete Myers all the time. Pete Myers worked hard. You said Pete Myers. That's hilarious. Because if you ask some people to look at Pete Myers, that was embarrassing. That was hilarious. He hated being there. Okay, Zycon, what's up? They usually don't. You got a question about that? We can talk about it. Okay, Scarlet Electro. Bobby Brown. Okay, we're gonna put that on there. Bobby was one of those had a great what I call a window of a career. Could have been even bigger. Um, one of those guys that I'll say it for me. Usher and Chris Brown had bigger careers, but Bobby Brown's run was what I liked. Like I liked what he did. It just that it just didn't last. But he had a good run. He was in his peak in his prime. He had the goods. It's just that it didn't last that long. That's the sad part. Pretty much after 96, 97. I had a buddy of mine who used to buy his remix albums all the time. And I liked them. Like I said, I like Bobby a lot, but yeah, it was pretty much a cocoon rap after about 97. Once they did that Home Alone album, Hit Me Off, and when they did that, that was pretty much it. But the fact that he's still alive, considering all the craziness that's going on in his life, you know, some things you have to give up. He got his life, but he lost a lot. But in his heyday, he was the truth. Well, so it depends on how you look at her. She had a big career once upon a time, and she had impact. Um, I think because the holiday song is what most people still remember her by. That's the fact. She still gets paid crazy for it. But yeah, her, unless you grew up with her or you listen to her music like that, you're not gonna really get it, and you're gonna just think she kind of prances around, and that's it. And there's some truth to it. There's truth to it. I really don't pay him no mind. I really don't pay him no mind. I mean, he had his run, but he still be, I still think he's an industry plant, so he'd be out there floating. He'll get on somebody's record or get on somebody's stage, you know. Now, usually when I think I call someone a cocoon, when I say in a cocoon, it's usually like somebody that kind of sort of had a career, but you ain't heard from them because they just fell off bad, and or they just, you know, Mariah just she still tours, and so does Buster. You know, they got base. You know, they still got fan base. But she still came out with an album. And she was at the Cowboys. She not really out of cocoon. I can't see when I say that. She ain't one of the ones I'd say that about. She keeps a hustle going. She keeps a hustle going. Now, Sharon Osbourne, you can say go back to your cocoon, and Ozzy too. But Dolly keeps a hustle going. She don't stay in there long. Yeah, that I agree with you there. But he won't though. He'll probably be on that podcast. How much you want to bet he'll be on that podcast? Sure, he'll be on that podcast. He may as well. I mean, let's be realistic. He's got more access than JJ Redick does. You know, I'm not. I try not to think about old Winnie the Pooh because that's real common in an industry. Get a buddy, hook you up. Well, probably do. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I do videos about it too. I talk about it because I talked about the video about Billy Porter doing James Baldwin, and I'll say this. I'm not tripping on people's orientation. Like I'll say it like this. I don't But when you make stuff front and center and you just like saliva at the mouth about something, then that's where you make yourself look like someone done touched your tang. But um, you know, it is what the agenda is. There is an agenda. And when you make that about Windhorse, I mean, there be truth to that. Yeah, he changed his tune. See, I never was big on no fake Pharrell non-singing behind. I always think he was Sam Cooke like he was crooning or something. Look, he 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 been tap dancing so long, and I'm not the biggest I wasn't the biggest Neptune's music fan either, because that stuff was like regurgitated '80s tracks, and he never really, except for Happy, his solo career never really took off. You know, so but his comments though were really tiring. I'm like, okay, got people thinking he's saying something deep. I respect all entertainers and athletes' hustle because it takes something special to get to that level. However, when we start doing individual cases, that's where you become where I start to look at you sideways. I'll go for anybody. I don't care. Because even the people I can't stand as entertainers or athletes, I respect their hustle because it took something to get there. Now, when we get to what you represent, that's another story. That's why we be having this never was booms or scrubs and all the other stuff we talk about. That's when you fall into criteria. But I do respect this also because he was a kid when he got up under Teddy Riley because I'm at Virginia Beach. And that's him saying SWV. That's him on the Right Here, Right Now remix with Human Nature back in 93. But you ask me, you ask me, um, not now because his sound never died. Um, he just couldn't write songs no more. His sound, it was a sound. He was a groove dude, beat maker. Wouldn't say underrated, wouldn't say overrated. He gets acknowledged, but it's like he lost hits. He just, because he was pretty much a one trick pony. I love New Jack to extent, but he his fuse came, his fuse went. You know, but not on. I wouldn't say underrated. No. Mm-mm. He be only he only be considered underrated because you're in an era now where people don't really care who produces what and do what. But you know what? Whichever one that I like is depends on what they talking about. I can't really tell you one off the top. I probably watch Kwame Brown. Anything with Kwame Brown and Rasheed Wallace, if you must know. And I watch Shaq when he had our, certain things when they talking. Now for laughs, I'll watch Paul Pierce and Garnett because they'll say some crazy stuff. And if I want to watch some shuffling, I'll watch Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson because they shuffle. Don't you worry, I'm not watching the podcast though. I'm not watching that mess. That's one podcast I will not watch. I will not watch that at all. You couldn't pay me to watch that. Because if JJ Redick is your right hand man and they disrespect, see, they belong together because they both disrespect the previous eras. Bump them too. I'll never watch that mess. I saw that mess, and he looked like an idiot too. Furon got fired. Still trying to play thug games. Still trying to be the light skinned boys in the hood. Still menacing side of society. I'm like, come on, man. You too old for that mess, man. But then again, your whole career was that fake pump to Kobe, which you didn't even blink. That's his whole claim to fame. That's all he's known for. You can't remember no Matt Barnes game winning shot? He can't either. Just checking something real quick. Claim him, but I don't claim his basketball game. I mean, he's half black Italian. I just don't claim his whack game. That's all. He was a third tier player. Can't claim his whackness because he wasn't known for nothing. Well, it's just that he tries to be tough. He tries to play that street role and it gets tiring. No, mine is basketball related. The thing is this. I'm not gonna pick on his hair or this and that. I'm just gonna pick on the fact that the disrespect that he shows to all the guys prior. I mean, who dare you say you're better than Magic and Bird and Shaq and Jordan, Duncan, and I can go on. You should humble yourself. And I have a disdain for his attitude, his arrogance. Uh, he should let people decide that. You have to announce that you're great. You're not even comfortable playing in LA because Kobe's ghost looms over you. I mean, you know, that's where I would have issue with him. I can't relate to that kind of smug like you know, he does. That's why I'm not going to college is where he looks bad. You know. I have a problem with guys who don't show some humble pie, you know. Um and there is this, again, every era has that where some guys will come on and say that, listen, he has a great talent and a great career. But to sit up here and act like he's the end all be all, that's not even the case. Because the case in point is this: you've been around 20 plus years and you got 4 rings. Well, and it's not just college. It's so if people watch this broadcast, we're gonna do something here that doesn't get touched on. So Maverick Carter and Rich Paul, they're astute black businessmen, and I got respect for what they do. But it's like this guy. This is where, yeah, I was offended what Phil Jackson said when he called them a posse, and Pat Riley wouldn't let them set up shop in Miami. However, I get it in the standpoint because they're not just focusing on the game or bringing in, they're trying to recruit an agenda, and they're not discreet about it. So it's like he's got his fingers in everyone's pie, and it gets annoying, you know. You tell guys to dream, but there's a way it gets to be annoying. No, no, the thing, if LeBron ever came towards me and said, "Well, I said I got 10 reasons why I got issue with you," they're not pimps. They're getting pimped. See, there's white money behind all this, and there's a facade going on. They do deals. They get away with what they can get away with. They're not no pimps. They hustling people because there's an agenda by the media to get in board and to, prolong this agony. But the pimps are the ones who you don't see. See, Real pimps pushers don't have to be all front, all like to quote Suge Knight, you ain't gotta be all in the stands, all sworn up hand in hand. You do your business on the low. They can't keep their mouth shut to say the least. Okay, I mean, you should feel better about yourself. However, there's a difference between loving yourself and being arrogant and smug. There's a difference. It's a difference when you play at a higher level and others have played at a higher level and you sit up there and call yourself the greatest in something. It's one thing to say that I feel like I belong on this list with people. It's another to say that you are the best. You can't scientifically prove that you're better than another era because there were different eras or different rules and there's different concepts. Okay? It's one thing. He loves himself. What happens with Shaq is because um being a big men never get the love. Okay, let's just point that out. That's why when you see someone give Wilt Chamberlain love, Bill Russell, Kareem love, Elijah and all that, Shaq, big men don't get that love. It's always the guard. It's always the little man. If you're big, you're supposed to win, and if you're big, you were too big, so it wasn't fair to the others. They always got excuses. They never come out and say the big man was the best. So that alone, and he also feels like Mad Dog disrespect him. Said he's the fifth greatest center ever. Bob Ryan is taking some shots at him. Guys who never played, who never been on that level. And telling a guy who's the last to three-peat, too, by the way. The mythical three-peat. Because Shaq's the last one since Jordan to do that, okay? So what does that tell you? So when people say, oh, Shaq's like underachieved, he was out of shape, he didn't do all he could do. He won 4 rings in 6 finals appearances in a decade run. And he was the last to three-peat. I don't know what else you want. He won. Yeah, because he gives it up. He gave, he talk, but he's giving it up to all those guys. Loves Dr. J to this day. And Shaq be telling facts because what he said about Steph Curry is true. He said the most important player since Jordan. That's what he said because he changed the game. I understand exactly what he was saying philosophical. You know, Shaq, if they were to actually ref him the correct way, he probably would have gone to the free throw line 25 to 30 times and probably would have had about 10 to 12, 10 to 15 shot attempts a game. Now you do the math and tell me how much he averages. And if he's half on his free throws, that's 15 points. You do the math. You tell me if that ain't a 35 to 40 point a night guy. So, but it was never gonna be that's just his peak in his prime, which is your facts. So no, I would tell anybody I can understand why RZ was saying, but the thing is that we don't have, we can't tell nobody, but they can't tell us either. And the eyeball test don't lie because if you grew up watching certain people play or whatever they were doing, and someone comes along and says, "Oh, that doesn't matter," you know. I think Jordan doesn't say those two because he thinks that they cheat in the game because they went and jumped on other teams and other places. I think that's why. Plus, you got to remember he had to come in mentally because he went against some incredible talents, and it was no joke. You know, I remember watching basketball back then. It was a different basketball era. It's a different game. Yeah. The only problem with Melo is that Melo just kind of got too cozy with being a one type of player, and he didn't put the work in. He didn't utilize when he with Denver. There's certain things he didn't do. Had he applied it, we might be looking at him in a whole different light. Because think about it, he still got crazy numbers, and he was a prolific scorer. Yeah, Jordan don't want that. Jordan gonna treat him like a trick, treat him like a 304. You don't want to hear that. See, that's how you know he's not the greatest. And he's not even for the fit for it. You can acknowledge and admire somebody, but you ain't got to beg him like you Keith Sweat. Nobody want to hear that. Grown man looking at him, trying to hawk in front of him. You know. But one thing is true. Without Anthony Davis, there ain't much to LeBron right now. They ain't doing nothing without that guy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And see, the thing is that Kobe was really had that kind of attitude. Ain't no way in the world he would have teamed up with D Wade and Bosh and Love and Irving, Ray Allen and Richard Jefferson and all that. Ain't no way in the world. He gets guys that come towards him, yes. But think about it. He never played with another great player after Shaquille O'Neal. That's a fact. Think about it. So, you know, but he was a different player than LeBron. But yeah, LeBron is petty. Okay, this is a great question here. That's a great question. Um, that's a great question because they're two of the best I've seen. If I had to say, I'd probably say the Sixer one for one main reason. They got Moses Malone, and that's back in the time when you would get somebody to come to your team, the one guy, not two and three. That's why LeBron wouldn't like me. That's the only thing that ever kept Dr. J from winning. When they got Moses, then they won it all. That was the stars were aligned. That's all you ever needed back then. Not this two and three pieces. So I'd have to say was only because of the fact of the way they got Moses and the 4-4-4 and they won and it all gelled. And that's when a trade used to matter. But it's close though, because Shaq then again he was on another mission. I mean, they were steamrolling, you know. So, but slightly because of the Moses, because of that. Because that was heck of impressive. That's when a free agent could come to your team and it could mean everything. But you did. Well, the Spurs beat the Nets in the finals. I'd have to say the Rockets because to me, they put themselves behind the eight ball, the way they did it, and they had to come back with all those threes. They don't get their respect for being a shooting three team that they made it fashionable in the 90s, but in a different way though. So I'd have to say them. I think once the Spurs got to the finals, it was almost a foregone conclusion. But the Rockets, they really, they was always like, oh, they look like they're gonna lose, and they found a way to win. That's when Rudy T kept saying, "Never give up champions, heart of a champion." He was right. Toughest MLB playoff runs to win a championship. Oh, that's tough because I mean it depends on what your criteria is. If you're talking about a wild card, I mean it's different. Toughest MLB playoff runs. I think I forgot which team it was. It was somewhere in the last. You probably could make a case, but I still think that their pitching staff was tough, though. You know, for that window they had. Oh, because of Bartman, which I don't like to talk about. You can make a case. You can make a case. You can make a case. I'm not blaming Bartman for everything, but you can make a case though. I remember Bartman. That seemed just like yesterday. I remember watching that game too. And I think it was Moses Alud. He was upset. Oh, that was crazy. They doused him with beer. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. Told you. That's why I don't like even having. Because if you ask me certain baseball questions, I got to be reminded of that, which is the worst, the worst, the worst. That's it. That's the only one that you know. That's the worst. Yeah, I remember that whole thing because Moses Alou got came out of his pocket, and it was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. That was a crazy situation. Dusty Baker was the manager. Yeah, but I guess because it was the Cubs, I was kind of disappointed how it went because they ended up losing. But um, I didn't know if it was going to be that bad. You know, so well, again, I thought we were fortunate to get to the World Series that year. You know, I thought the Mariners got kind of hosed because of 9/11. So in hindsight, but I heard that Bob Brenly got flipped off by some people in Arizona because they were mad at Arizona won. I thought that was hilarious. And then he got fired about they stunk up the next couple of years, so he ended up going back to broadcasting. But yeah, people took that serious. But nothing made me more upset than losing to the Red Sox in '04. That's the worst. Sorry. Because of that one choke job. One word about that. The games were close because the Mets weren't no bums, but the Mets were a good team. It's just that we had a slightly better team. It's kind of like we were just a better version of what they had. That's all it came down to. When you can make three or four more pitches, you can get two or three more hits. That's all it was. So, you know, I wasn't surprised they won that World Series, but it was pretty entertaining. It was close. You know, that was the intimidation play because if by him doing that, it's like we ain't gonna lose to you. I knew what that meant too. It wasn't just that; it was also intimidation because they knew they were better. So he bullied him, but they also knew they were better. That's all that was too. You know, Subway Series. Yeah, I ain't gonna argue that. He he's a very fiery guy. He had that attitude. You know. I'll give you that. Yeah, I think he did a great job against Atlanta in that series. He did. Joe came up big. Joe came up big. He had to deal with Steinbrenner and he had a young team, but he was able to balance it out. Did a great job. You know, I have much respect for Joe. That's a tough job in New York. So he was the man for the task. So well, sometimes it be like that. That's the tough thing about baseball. You can be so close, but you can be so far. It happens. I've seen different things happen in World Series that change outcomes. I still, when Kirk Gibson hit that home run against Oakland at Golf Eckersley, Oakland wasn't the same. They never recovered after that. See, you just see certain things, you know, you know. Baseball is a very humbling sport, real quick. Probably more so than other sports because in baseball, it's on to the next pitch. Probably did. Probably did. Because at this, you don't know how many chances you're gonna get. You don't know how many chances you're gonna get. Especially when you're going for the show and you got a chance to win and you don't win. So, and it's probably tougher for him to seeing some younger cats and he tries to tell them you may not get back here again. Yeah. You almost think that stuff was fixed. But it's true though. Guys take that for granted. You really don't know. You really don't know. It's the old Dan Marino reality. You might only get one chance. You just don't know. It's tough. Because you got guys like Ken Griffey Jr. never had the chance. So, it's some strange situations. He was. He was. Excuse me. He was. Because believe me, if TD don't come there, he probably goes and don't. Only one. That's right. But it's different in football than it is in baseball than it is in basketball. Baseball, you're measured by your stats, not your rings. Football, quarterbacks get measured by numbers, stats, and some jewelry. Basketball, it's a little tricky. That's what I'm saying. You never know. And see, there's some guys who just don't really take advantage. Some guys got it like that, some guys don't. So, It's really low. It's hard to put into rhyme or reason. Yep, 7-3. It's incredible because that means he spent half of his career in the Super Bowl, and that's not including the AFC Championship games that he didn't win. That's the scary part. That means half his career he was closing in on the form of a ring. Scary. That's dominance. That's dominance. So, again, it all depends on how you look at it. Yeah. And Mahomes is the only one that's going to be on his arc, too. The only one. Because when you start winning them things and you start playing them things, it's like it just becomes part of your DNA. And Mahomes been to 6 AFC championship games. That's crazy. That's right. But if anybody can do it, he's the one. I'm sorry, but if they three-peat next year, he's the GOAT, as far as I'm concerned. I'll call him the GOAT because no one's ever done it. And no one has been on his level. No one's ever been on his level to win like that. So that's why. That's what makes it so mind blowing because he has won. The way he's won, and he's in a very competitive era. Think about it. He's been to 6 straight AFC championship games, 4 Super Bowls, won three-time Super Bowl MVP, and Lamar Jackson's got 2 league MVPs, and Aaron Rodgers won a league MVP. And those quarterbacks aren't chopped liver. And Tom Brady won a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP. Has won. Brady's won 2 Super Bowls since Mahomes been playing. Think about the names and the historical implications involved. So, I mean, that's how special Mahomes is. Because that's it, really. You take Brady out the equation in the last 5 years, Mahomes would be like, yeah. So, it's crazy. Yeah, that's true. But the thing about it, in his defense in Philly, it's just that Donovan, it just didn't have you got to have the right pieces with everything. That's all. You know, he was still a really very good head coach. Like if he doesn't do anything and we just go by his Philly era, he'd still fall in the line as the really good to very good coach because he did get to a Super Bowl and he had all those NFC Championship games. Wouldn't be a bad resume. It's not like the worst resume. He just ain't gonna be mentioned amongst. But now he's at the table, so he need not worry about that. But if we just went by his Philly thing, he'd still be a borderline Hall of Fame coach. Borderline. Yeah. So, just didn't win the big one, but he had opportunity. He got there and he had knocked on the door. Sometimes it ain't meant to be. He would have been in the Marty Schottenheimer, you know, side of the store, a couple others, but he ain't got to worry about now because now you don't start. You can't sit at the table without Andy there. So that's all. Yeah. Well, that's part of being successful. You have to have a good team around you. So that's all. But anyway, my homes is and Kelsey too. They in some rare company. They are in rare company, and it's great to see it. I have no problems with that. I have no problems with people winning. What he did this year, they played a power game. They won different ways. I mean, they won different ways. I mean, I'm in awe. I'm in awe because they don't have a traditional 1,000 yard running back. They don't even have a 1,000 yard traditional receiver guys that you to win like they did, especially without Tyreek 2 straight years, and Tyreek gets knocked out in the first round. Now the question is to you: who is in need of a ring more, Tyreek Hill or Kevin Durant? Please answer below because they both are in situations where you're great. Like you're considered Tyreek is going to be considered an all-time great receiver in Saucer. Okay, thought so. But you do understand why I mentioned Tyreek though. Because Tyreek is going to be mentioned as an all-time great receiver. Now he's going to put up crazy numbers. And he's um well, do you understand why I mentioned Tyreek though? And do you view Tyreek right now as a top 10 receiver ever? Or do you think he still needs a few more years? Because I think Tyreek is pretty impressive right now. You know, yeah, Cruz, I do, especially in the '90s. But I do. They got a chance to come out the NL. They did win the chip a few years ago. They got a chance to come out. They got a nice squad. They got a nice squad. I like them because I'm aware of them, and they do good. Good baseball question. We know we don't. 'Cause yeah, they got a chance. You think so too, Ted, or no? About Atlanta. He was bad. He, like I said before, though, he just happened to have the Peyton Manning syndrome. He was incredible. Like if we just go by regular season, one of the greatest ever. Like top five. But when we put the postseason, then that's the only thing with him. They do. They do. I mean, I always think it's gonna be like Atlanta and Frisco and the Dodgers, and I don't know who's gonna come out the Central. I think what Milwaukee. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Again, I think they got have to see how the things go in the season. In the NL East, I don't know. We'll see. Let's go Atlanta, Philadelphia. I think we'll see. Can't say. Well, the Dodgers got the best players and money can buy, I think. So they got more to prove. See. Dodgers, they got, they got to prove it. So we'll see. We shall see. I don't know, but I know that Cole is going to be out for a minute. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. You know, again, I go in not expecting much. I'm hoping for a third place finish. That's how where I'm at right now. I don't have much expectations. Yeah, he is. He's playing great top tier ball. It's just that it doesn't feel like it's going hand in hand though. You know what I mean? You think that if a guy's playing at a high level, his team will be winning championships or competing, and his just doesn't add up to that. That's the downside. But he starts competing for some rings, then it makes it more pronounced. We'll see. He had better success in Houston. That's all I'm gonna say. Say what you want, but mm, I got to think about that for a while. Oh, God. Who comes to mind? Who would you say? 'Cause I got to think. That's gonna take me a while to think about that. Who would you say? I remember Burley. I remember Burley. You might could say Felix Hernandez because he just didn't get no run support. He was a bad boy. Yeah, Holiday ended up winning everything. I think Felix falls in that class. I think. Hmm. Yeah, or Rory going with Toronto. Depends on where you are. Depends on what team you're on. Once he got out of Washington, he did. Once he got out of there. Yeah. Hmm. Because, like I said, I'm trying to think. I'd say Dontrell Willis and Josh Beckett. Come on now. Them boys were bad. Beckett just got, well, they were tight. They were tight. Yeah, I could give you that. Yeah, well, I came later. I always talk about him. I never get his. Gardner was bad for the Giants. I mean, he was a beast. Talk about a workhorse. Oh man, he was something else for they run. He had a little Shohei in him too, cause he could hit. He could hit. He was something else. Yeah, yeah. He got a lot out of Frisco. Kerry Wood. You talking about Leonardo DiCaprio looking? Yep, I remember to call him Kerry DiCaprio Wood because he looked like Leo's bigger brother, buffer brother. So we used to call him Kerry Leonardo. You never noticed that before? I remember when he had that game in '98, he struck out 20, and I'm like, "What's Leonardo DiCaprio?" I said, "How you on Titanic and you up there pitching?" Oh, Kerry DiCaprio. Yeah, that's what he looked like. And I thought, okay, I don't know who you are. Uh, who you are, Dana? Yeah, you got to tell me who you is. I don't say nothing. Um, he had that fresh face, oh, growing pains. I was cracking up. So that's how my mind worked. Where you from? Before you come here asking questions, where you from? Um, he, he, but I thought, okay, babyface Clemens, and they had some good arms. Yeah, because you just mentioned whatchamacallit. They had who else did they? Oh yeah, the Carrie Wood. Yeah, not Carrie Wood, but her other one. The other one that was who did they have? They had somebody else that was there, and they just didn't pan out. Oh, okay, Mark Pryor. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. But he did look like him. But yeah, but Carrie was bad there for a moment, but his arm just got out. That's all. So yeah, Mark Pryor. That's funny. Yeah. Different time though. Okay, we'll bounce then. That's done. For the most part, things have been okay. Then somebody just comes out the blue, ain't saying nothing. Can't stand that. Happens a lot though. Different forums I'm on. But yeah. See, and when we talk about this, I hadn't even thought about Kerry Wood in years because he was a woulda, coulda, shoulda. It was a shame too. I've always thought Nolan Ryan was one of them. Gaylord Perry to an extent. Yeah, Oral. I mean, there's a lot of them that you can make a case for that's overrated. A lot of them. Well, I just thought he was a power pitcher, but I thought that Clemens was a better version. And you're gonna tell me Clemens didn't dominate more than him? Because I mean, Clemens is considered a better pitcher than Nolan Ryan, and yet he was cut from his cloth. Think about it. Ryan had a lot of losses. He struck out a lot. See, the things he's known for is what? Strikeouts, no hitters, one hitters, right? But he also gave up a lot of big. He's one of those guys I kind of just think that if he came in different right now, they'd have him as a middle relief pitcher. I wasn't big on that redneck. I'm sorry. Yeah, but but yeah, he's one of them. Yeah, well, aside from the amazing match, which was pretty much almost before my time as far as when they won, but I wasn't big on them postseason. But he did all right in Houston, even though I still think Gerald Richards was just as good. But that's just my personal opinion. So He sure did. Well, he actually had that off-speed pitch. He started throwing different pitches as he got older. That's what enabled him. But you ain't lying. It seemed like he played forever. And I could have sworn he was like pushing 62 when he beat up on Robin Ventura. I never forgot that. Yeah, he was. Because you saw when he left Seattle and he went to Houston, he had that 1 year where he was incredible. And that's exactly what I mean. Guys who did a better job of what he did, like a better version of, because Randy was a left-handed version of him. And Randy was dominant with his. So Steve Carlton was a better pitcher too. It's a lot of pitchers I got over Nolan Ryan. You know, his individual stats are incredible, but I just didn't think I was blown away by his wins and losses. It's one of the things I've never been that big on him. That's all. So, but that's a strong statement there. Pitchers win MVP and say, yeah. I don't quite understand it because you got to explain it a little bit better. Pitchers win MVP and say, yeah. And but my top 10%. Well, it depends on who pitcher you're talking about. Depends on who it is. All my temperature. Oh yeah, he never did. He never did get a Cy Young, did he? That's a true statement because for all that dominance, yeah, great point. Yeah, because I remember when he came to Houston, and it was all about Fernando Mania. And Steve Carlton got it. He sure as heck wasn't getting in the American League. Yeah, he sure wasn't getting it when it was in National League early on in the Mets because he was a member with the pitching. Tom Seaver was better. And when he's in the American League, Guidry was better. There was a few that were better. Yeah, he was. See now, and this is where dominance and power, because you're naming pitchers left and right. And then at first you said I had a bold take, but then when you start to think about it, is it really that bold? Because for all those no hitters and one hitters and strikeouts and stuff he's not seeing 5 to 10 of the best pitchers ever. That's the reality. You know, they will, they will. But I bring up some facts. He didn't win a Cy Young, and he's more known for strikeouts, for no hitters. He's more known for things that are more individualistic than leading his team. That's a fact. So they can come at me all they want. I bring the facts back at him because he wasn't Steve Carlton. You know, he wasn't Bob Gibson with the ERA and dominance. So I have no problem if they come after me. But that's how I look at him now. So regular ERA title. Because there's a lot of pitchers that can dominate with strikeouts, but to have an impressive ERA title was saying something. I remember if a guy had a great ERA, he was like, that's what made Pedro Pedro. Oh, yeah, he didn't even mention Pedro. I got Pedro on the Ryan, too. Pedro had ERA. Pedro had multiple pitches. Mm-hmm. Strikeouts are impressive. However, it can be kind of misleading because it's like they two different things. Because I mean, offense, defense. Um, I think Gold Glove carries more weight though. He was. He was. He was pretty impressive all during his prime and peak. Pedro came up big. Like if Maddox had half the dominance in the postseason as he did in the regular season, then Maddox would probably be top 3 or 4 greatest pitcher ever. Pedro ain't, but Pedro came up bigger to me. He was pivotal. He always put them in contention to win. I knew that. We beat them in extra innings. Yep, they were. Mm. You know, and I think his uncle was Patrick Duffy, Bobby Ewing from Dallas. Yeah, he looked good early in his career, and then he just kind of fell off. Yeah, yeah. That's a name I ain't heard. And I remember when I found out he was related to Patrick Duffy, I was like, wow. But I think the shower scene when Dallas jumped the shark and Bobby was in the shower, that happened to Zito. Yeah, Jake Peavy. Yeah, some of these cats, I ain't heard their names in 20 years and I forgot all about them. Zito went from the Giants to Oakland too, or something like that. Yeah. I remember it like yesterday. Because his postseason, man, he's another example. Guy in the regular season is a beast. Like, he should be like the Koufax of his generation. Just don't finish, though. Just don't finish, though. And he definitely, if he stinks it up this year, he's definitely going to get that tag. You know, they got that ring, they got that bubble ring. But should have been a lot more dominant than he is, though. Well, what's his excuse the last 5, 6 years before the ring? You know, I mean, he's gonna get in the Hall of Fame, but it ain't as dominant as he could have been. I think he's that old. I just think that his mental mechanics. That's the problem with him. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Mm. Dead price. How about neither? I mean, it's so commonplace now. I'd say right now, 60 points right now. Now is. One and long ago, I would have said triple double, but stuff been so watered down. I mean, it's so watered down. It's hard to be a fan of that sport. Hmm. Yeah. Um, 10 blocks, because that means you dominating in the box. You know, I mean, that's a heck of a feat. 10 steals is great too. Don't get it twisted, because you could be thrifty, but but 10 blocks, you're dominating. Blocking like that is like stunks. I mean, that guy is that's just freakish. It's impressive, but if you see a shot blocker in the paint that's swatting stuff left and right, that's gonna get the ooh and the ah. That's the ooh and ah like dunks. Steals is impressive, but again, it's more that's got more to do with I think you got opportunities with that because you can play zone deep. You can play off a guy. There's different ways you can do that. Not taking down playing it, but you asked me what I think was more impressive than Cat's swatting it, and especially because you got the timing. Timing is everything. So 50, 40, 90, because that means that you're shooting a higher percentage, 2 points, 3 points, and free throw. That's still heck of impressive. And then like I said, the triple double has been kind of watered down. Yeah. Yeah, but I think what happened is because he jersey jocked so much that's people kind of gonna lose track of him because he rocked so many jerseys and things didn't end well in so many playings. That's the downside to him. You know, people root for him as a player, but then he also brought some stuff on himself. So he's a polarizing, but he will be in town. I will be, I do, but think so. I mean, I think Oscar Robinson's what he did is still more impressive. Oh, you was reading that? Okay. Oh, D Rose, because I just think that eventually he gonna break through, and he looked like he was gonna be something. He was gonna be the second coming of something. He had a nice rawness about him, and he fit Chicago good. And they just, like I said, Tibbs don't kill him off. Uh, so that's the reason being. He was more of a structured leader than Westbrook. Westbrook had people to play with too. Westbrook hard worker, you know, but at the same time, you got to play with Durant. You got to play with Harding, LeBron, AD, now Kawhi, Bradley Beal, if you want to throw it in there. I mean, you get to play with all stars and great players. I mean, that's the problem. D Rose didn't get that. Not like that. Well, just saying. I'm still taking Jokic for me. Still going with the Joker. But second place is kind of interesting. You can make Shea. You can say Luca. You can say Tatum. It's going to be Victor. It's not going to be AD. I think AD gets canceled out because of injuries and also playing with LeBron. See. Yeah, I think Victor get it. Oh boy. In OKC or you make a case for OKC coach, and you can make a case for mm, yeah, you can make a case for those two. No one saw Orlando and OKC being this good like this. So yeah, that's all depends. Like I said, can they play half court ball when it gets to the postseason? That's all. We'll see. They're not gonna trade him unless they get. They're not gonna trade him unless they get. They they want some pieces. They try and treat that white boy like he's special. That ain't gonna happen. I mean, they would offer it, but they'd have to, yeah. But it's gonna be a mess this summer, regardless of where they finish or what happens. There's gonna be some shifting. So that's funny. Oreo cookie. I'm not a Laker fan, so whatever he missing, I think he's just desperate to try to get shooters, and that's the reality. And hopefully they can shoot themselves back in the game, and hopefully they'll get some free throws. Because if it comes down to they got a man up and then they get physical and they can't get them ticky tack calls, then he's cooked. So mm, I'm not, because the girl done sat there and disrespected anything that played before the 60s and the 70s, and LeBron disrespects all the time, and so I'm not surprised. And you know, you just surprised it wasn't Kendrick or Keyshawn or some of them got, but I mean, LeBron's, like I said, it's nauseating. It's nauseating. So, yeah. Well, come to find out, even getting paid to sit there and tell lies on TV about it. So, sure, why not? I got time for one more question before I go because I've been here almost 2 hours and I think I'm going to do some other things. But I'm glad that, we connected and came on through tonight. But I got time for one or two more questions. If you got anything that you want to throw out there, feel free. The Nick Wright thing was hilarious. Probably Iverson, this last one, because it was really on point. And plus, they're boys and it just kicks. His podcast is entertaining more so than him on TV. But I think that's just an adaptation, though. I think he'd be putting it on when, so, yeah. So, I think AI. I like the last one a lot. And I like it when he speaks his mind. Oh, yeah, the Dr. J one. Yeah. Dr. J and AI. They're tied for 1 and 1A for me with Shaq podcast. So he could pretty much quit after them two. Because I don't think it's gonna top that. But yeah, it's entertaining. Yeah, thanks everyone that came through. Appreciate everything. Great comments tonight. Took a little while for stuff to get on, but it came out good. Touched on a lot of different topics as usual. Looking forward to another day tomorrow, and this was great. So it's real solid. Appreciate you, Ted. Thanks for all the you know legit questions and comments and thoughts and takes. And I always say, bring new ideas again. We'll flip it back and forth with it. So stay safe, stay careful. Peace the best. Appreciate it when it came through with comments. Appreciate you taking the time. And we're working on, you know, adding more new segments, different things. So till next time, take it easy. Peace the best. I'm out. All right. One time. Catch you.